Have you ever sat down on a Saturday morning, maybe you have your coffee in hand, you're like, today I'm going to do some family research. This is my day. You open up Ancestry, maybe you even open up Family Search. You maybe have a little spreadsheet if you're real organized that you started 2 years ago that you promised you were going to keep updated. And you have a name in your head, the person that you really want to research today. You start clicking around. And 3 hours later, you have 47 browser tabs open. You are somehow on a 1910 census record for a person that you're pretty sure isn't even related to you. And you've added 6 new names to your tree. And when you finally close your laptop, if you're me, you feel kind of worse than when you started. So if this has ever been you as well, I want you to stay with me today because I want to tell you about a thing that has helped fix this problem for me. It's not a database. It's not fancy software. It's a form I built for myself. And I've been sharing it with my clients. And it's really changed a lot. You're listening to the NYTN podcast. Hi, I'm Danielle Romero, and we talk about American identity and family stories. So why do we keep getting lost when we're doing family research? One of the things that nobody tells you when you start doing genealogy is that the hardest part is not finding records. It really isn't. We have more records online right now than any generation in human history has ever had access to. The Library of Congress, Family Search, Chronicling America. You've got all this stuff out there. Your great-great-grandfather's enlistment paper is probably sitting on a server somewhere just waiting for you to type his name in. I think that the hardest part is knowing what you're actually looking for. And I don't mean this in a poetic way. All who wander are not lost. No, I mean it literally. Most people hit a brick wall in their research. They're not stuck because the record doesn't exist. They're stuck because they never sat down and wrote out what they know, what they don't know, what you're trying to find. They just start clicking and clicking and clicking. And every little green leaf on Ancestry becomes a rabbit hole. And every rabbit hole becomes a new ancestor. And pretty soon you're researching 9 people in 3 different states across 2 different centuries, and none of them are getting you anywhere. To say, I want to learn about my family is not a research project. That's a feeling. Right? It's a beautiful feeling, but it's not something that you can finish. That's not something that you can say, okay, I've completed learning about my family. But to say, in my case, I want to know why my great-grandmother Lola appears as mulatto in the 1900 census when her parents were Black in the 1890 census. That's a research project that has a beginning, a middle, and an answer. Narrowing down means committing to something. Narrowing down our research means saying out loud, this is the question I care about most. And once you say that, you need to find an answer. It's easier in some ways to keep all the tabs open because it feels like it's progress, but it's not. So what does this form do? What is this mysterious form? A few months back, I was starting to build out my Ancestor Story packages. Folks book a session with me, and I do research with them on one of their ancestors. So they sign up, we meet on Zoom for an hour and talk about their family, what they're working on, and I build them a custom PDF on an ancestor in particular, what the ancestor's life was like living in these locations. But before any of that happens, every client fills out something called an intake form. And I'm telling you, the form is doing more work than I realized at first. So at first, I was like, well, I need to get this intake form from you guys so that when we sit down and talk on Zoom, we're not just kind of all over the place. Like I have an idea of what you want to talk about, and I can do some research ahead of time. But some of my clients have told me, they've actually told me that the form itself was the most valuable part of our session. No shade to me. That's fine. They're right, though, because filling out the intake form is the part where they finally stop and look at what they actually have, what they want to know. So I want to walk you through what's in this form. 3 things matter the most, and I want you to think about your own work as I go. And at the end of this podcast, I want to give you an opportunity to use this form yourself. So, number 1, you need to choose one ancestor, just one ancestor. The form starts simple. Who is the person? What is their full name, their birth and death years, if you know them, where they lived, that's it. And this is super important because the second you write down one name and you commit to that name for at least the next hour of your life when we're doing our one-on-one Zoom call, something will shift. You stopped researching this overarching family and you start researching a person. So for me, this was Lola, my great-grandmother. It wasn't just the Cane River area. It wasn't just my Creole family. It was one woman. The docuseries I did on YouTube, I ended up calling it Finding Lola. And that actually really helped me to figure out what the heck am I even doing? Because I went looking for her and her alone, and that's how I found her. So if you're stuck right now in your own research, I would bet it's because you're researching a surname or a cluster or a lot of people at once instead of just a single ancestor. 2, the next section on the intake form talks about what you don't have. This is what I call the silence inventory. So the next section will ask you to note or circle every record you have on this person. Do you have census records, death records, marriage, wills, newspaper clippings, photos, letters? But then I'm going to ask you what you don't have. And what you don't have, I call that the silence inventory, because most people, when I ask them what they have on their ancestor, they'll tell me what they think they know. They tell me a story grandma told them. They tell me some like half-remembered fact from a cousin. And again, you know I love oral history. I value it. I think we need to value it more. But some of this stuff is just no way to verify it. It's not being corroborated by anything, and we're not even sure if it's true ourselves. But when you have to write things down, like circle the records that exist or leave the rest blank, you will find out very fast what you have and what you've been telling yourself you have. And these are 2 completely different lists. So you may not have a marriage license. I don't have a marriage license for my great-grandmother still. I don't have a birth certificate for her. She may have never had one. Maybe there is a big gap between census records where your ancestor seems to have disappeared. Maybe there's no photographs before 1942. That blank space is not a failure on our part. I want you to think about it as data. I love to say this. I will say it until I can't say it anymore. Silence in your family is a record too. The shape of what is missing tells us where to look next, and sometimes it tells you why it's missing in the first place. Okay, 3, third section on the form. This is your mystery. This is a question, I think, on the form that does the most work for us. It says, just in plain English, what is the thing about this person that doesn't add up for you? What is the question you really deep down came here to answer? And I'm going to tell you, this question takes my clients the longest to work through because most of us have never said it out loud. Some of you have been carrying this around for years, maybe for your whole life. Why did she leave home so young? Why won't anybody talk about him? Why does this side of the family look this way? Why do the records keep changing here? Once you write this down, once it's on the page in actual sentences, the research has somewhere to go. We have a destination. Every record we look at gets asked the same thing now. Does this help me answer this question or doesn't it? If it doesn't, we can save that aside for later. It might matter someday, but it doesn't matter today. That's really the whole form. I have a bunch of other stuff in there, but it's who is it? What do you have on them? What do you not have? What do you want to know? Now, it's not magic, obviously. It's a Google form that I made. But it's a Google form that makes you stop being a tourist in your own family. The way I am naturally, which is I just start taking these leisurely routes up different branches of the family tree, and suddenly I'm ending up in Mexico or Spain or who knows where. I'm like, this is exciting, it's fun, but I don't have the depth on my ancestors, something to pass down to my kids, something meaningful that I can hold on to. I do want to say something else here, that this work, the work that you're doing, the work that I'm doing, we're doing it together, looking for our people. This is grief work. This is identity work. It's repair work. We're trying to bring people forward through time. We're trying to undo silences that somebody somewhere decided was easier than telling the truth. And you can't do that work all scattered. We can't do that work with 47 tabs open. We can't do 3 ancestors at a time on a Saturday morning between loads of laundry. And, well, you can. Sometimes you have to. But it's going to take us a long time, and we might still feel lost at the end of it. I think the best way to do this is sitting down with one person, one ancestor, saying their name, writing down what we have on them, writing down what's missing, figuring out what we still need to know, what we want to know. Admitting what we don't know about this ancestor is difficult work because we've been told that being good at something means knowing the answers. If somebody asks, hey, what do you know about your great-grandfather? The truth is maybe not much, maybe almost nothing, maybe just a name. And that can feel like failure if this is something you care a lot about. But this is your starting line. You can't research what you already know, right? We can only research the gaps. So these gaps on your ancestor are a gift. My form just helps you write down the gaps. That's really all it does. It makes you figure out what you actually want to find out. And once you do that, I really do feel like the research kind of lays itself out. I'm not exaggerating. Half of the time, my clients send me their filled out form and I look at it and go, oh, okay, you already know what to do next. You just needed to see this on the page. And let's talk through that. So this is where I'm going to leave you today. If anything I said sounded like your research life, the tabs, the brick walls that maybe aren't even brick walls, we don't know, not even knowing what you're trying to find out, I want you to do one thing this week. Go to my coffee page. The link will be in the show notes, but it's ko-fi.com/NYTN13. It's ko-fi.com/NYTN13. I'm going to put the intake form up there for $5, just the form. So you don't have to pay for a session, a package, nothing. It's literally just my specialized intake form that I use for my clients. Work on that. Sit down with it this week. Pick an ancestor and fill it out. That is it. I genuinely believe for some of you, you don't even need my help. This form's going to be enough. You'll fill it out and you'll see your next move and you'll go do it. Great. That's the goal. I want you to do this work with me, without me, however you can. Now, if you fill it out and you go, oh, wow, I actually do want someone to look at this with me, that's where the Ancestor Story packages are valuable. I have a tier where you do the form and we'll spend an hour together on a Zoom call going through what you found, what to look for next, what your ancestor's life was probably like, suggestions I have after reviewing the form that I have for you. And then there's another tier where I take all of that. So we do the intake form, and then we do our 60-minute Zoom call together. And then I build you a custom PDF package, a document. It's your ancestor's story situated in the legal world they lived in, the laws that shaped their world, places they moved through, the full thing. It's like a snapshot of your ancestor's life, something that is substantial that you can share and hold on to. I'll link to all of that in the show notes if that's where you want to go. But honestly, just start with that form. That's where I would start. Because if you don't know what you're looking for, no amount of money is going to fix the research. But if you do know what you're looking for, you might not even need me at all. Either way, I want you finding your people. So thank you so much for being with me. This entire podcast is held up, subsidized, encouraged by my friends and folks on Patreon. Thank you so much for making this work possible. After the issues I've had with YouTube, I'm just grateful to know that my stuff can be housed in a safe place in a great community. And if you'd like to see some behind the scenes work and get in touch with me, patreon.com/NYTM. I'll leave that link in the notes as well. And choose your ancestor this week. Check out that form, whoever they were, focus on them, and let me know what you come across. We'll talk soon.